Yo, what's up guys? You got PokeaimMD here with the October 2016 ORAS tier changes. Now there's only a few tier changes that happened this month, actually only 3, but I did want to discuss them because I thought that they were semi-important, or at least 2 of them were kind of, important. The other one I feel like is, it is what it is. But yeah, so the 3 changes that we have this month are that Sawk has moved from BL3 to RU. BL3, if you guys didn't know, means ban, or it's NU's ban list. So it's borderline between NU and RU. It's not RU because you're not RU by usage, since tiers are by usage, meaning that the Pokemon, based on how they are used or how much they are used on the ladder, affects where their tiering is. So Sawk was previously banned from NU but not RU, has now moved to RU. Quagsire dropped from RU to NU, and then Azelf moved from UU to OU. Now, I want to talk about why these changes may have happened and like how the tiers will be affected. First off, Azelf moved from UU to OU. Honestly, this was expected, and I'm going to tell you the number one reason why. This team right here, this bird spam team right here was literally spammed on the ladder during all of OLT, the official ladder tour that Smogon does, where you have to ladder up on the OU ladder, and this was spammed throughout the entirety of it, all throughout the ladder. So we saw Azelf lead Dragonite or Choice Banded Dragonite, Choice Banded Talonflame, SD Pinsir, Tailglow Manaphy, and then Choice Scarf Excadrill as their Rapid Spinner. Now, main reason why Azelf is on this team is because it is just a reliable Stealth Rock user. Azelf's speed puts it over, just over Mega Diancie, and you can run enough HP to be able to take on a Fake Out plus return from Mega Lopunny. And what this does is it allows Stealth Rock for this team. That was the main goal of Azelf for this team. It's literally Stealth Rock. Same thing as DVP lead. Just get up Stealth Rock and die. Taunt to prevent opposing Stealth Rock, but Stealth Rock 100% where you play always. You want those up. Skill Swap were just in case your opponent had Mega Sableye or Mega Diancie. You skill swap their Magic Bounce, and then you're able to get up Stealth Rock versus them and then just explode. Even if you can't boom on them like Sableye, like even if they're Ghost types, you just explode. That way you get the hell out of there and just start setting up. That is the objective of this team. And honestly, that's the reason why Azelf went up from UU to OU. It was just used enough on this team. It's literally on this team. I can't stress how much this team was used on the ladder. You probably saw it during OLT. If you played 5 games on the ladder, you probably saw this team at least 3 times while you were laddering. And that's why Azelf really moved up. Now, this does mean that UU obviously loses Azelf as, a great Stealth Rocker down there as well. It was a great Stealth Rocker. It could even get up Rain if you ran Damp Rock on it with Rain Dance. There was even a Nasty Plot set with Dazzling Gleam, Choice Scarf, U-Turn, Choice Spam. But it's always just been, Azelf has always been just a great Stealth Rocker just because of its access to Taunt, its great speed tier, base 115, outspeeding most defoggers in the tier as well as like OU, like Latios, Latias. And also just beating them 1v1 with Explosion, preventing you from defogging or rapid spinning. That's also why Azelf was mainly used on this team. It was just the best Stealth Rocker for this team. Whereas a Pokemon that might be faster and have a faster taunt like Aerodactyl doesn't have the Explosion to block rapid spin, to block defog. And Explosion obviously let you get on out of there. Because even if you did rapid spin, like the main purpose of this team, and I feel like I'm talking about it, is get up rocks. If your opponent tries to spin, you literally set up with Dragonite, Pinsir, or Manaphy and just plow through them. So you get up rocks, you explode, and then go out to the appropriate Pokemon to set up or take on the Pokemon out on the field. And honestly, that's why Azelf went up to OU, specifically this team. Now, unfortunately, like I said, UU does lose this Pokemon. But outside of this Stealth Rock set, I really don't see too much for Azelf. Choice Scarf Tyranitar is kind of everywhere, though Ban is rising a lot in popularity, and using any other set, maybe Life Orb. I mean, it does have use. It has a great move pool. If you guys didn't know, Azelf actually has a great move pool. Dazzling Gleam, Energy Ball, Explosion, Flamethrower, Grass Knot, Psychic, Shadow Ball. Only move it needs is really his Focus Blast, to be honest. Something for T-Tar and Heat Rain, but it's a great Stealth Rock setter, and that's the main reason to use Azelf, and that's why Azelf went up to the tier. It's just specifically this. It's this team. Again, I know I'm stressing that, but that's why Azelf moved up in usage. Let's actually look at the usage for Azelf. I'm a little bit curious where it is right here. And Mega Pinsir usage went up. Dragonite Talonflame usage. Excadrill usage. All because of that team. Yeah, Azelf was number 37. God, being more used in Mega Charizard X, Superior, Mega Heracross. Holy crap, man. Mega Charizard Y too. So, yeah, it's this team specifically, and that's why it was moved up. Next up, we have Sawk moving up from its ban list to RU, and honestly, Sawk is a great Pokemon in RU. The Choice Band set has limited to no switch-ins. Even if you have like a physically defensive Pokemon like Alomola, probably one of the most physically defensive Pokemon in the tier, that is easily 2-hit KO'd by close combat, Choice Band in close combat. Any Pokemon doesn't appreciate losing their item. There's Poison Jab to also deal with fairies, and there's also Zen Headbutt or Ice Punch, and what that does is that allows you to deal with some of the bulkiest Pokemon in the tier, like like Venusaur in the tier. But Choice Band set, sturdy. I think this is Sawk's best set for RU, and I can understand why it moved up. Again, it 2-hit KOs all the defensive teams. Regigigas gets Regigigas. Why do I keep saying Pokemon that were not in the tier? Registeel, excuse me, gets O-code. Let me put RU real quick. That way we could just look for this. But Registeel gets O-code, Blastoise 2-hit KO'd, Alomola 2-hit KO'd. And the great thing about this, the thing that this Pokemon has over a Pokemon like Medicham, we actually talked about this in the RU tier list discussion, but this Pokemon has access to Knockoff and Sturdy. And Knockoff is just so good because Pokemon that could potentially take hits, like maybe Slowking, physically defensive Slowking is easily 2-hit KO'd by Knockoff, with or without item. Well, without item. Easily 2-hit KO'd by Choice Band and Knockoff. And this Pokemon can get away. Jolly is definitely good because it has a great speed tier, because this allows it to outspeed Pokemon like Venusaur, Pokemon like Adamant Hitmonlee if you're running that. Yeah, like Adamant Hitmonlee. You can outspeed that. Not that you really need to. But again, what Sawk really has going for it is that Sturdy as well. It makes it a great revenge killer. You can let a mon set up, and if you have your Sturdy intact, you just revenge kill them, take your hit, and then just either close combat them back, poison jab them back, then headbutt them back. Things like that. So it was a great wall breaker in the tier. It also has a lot of use in the Scarf set as well. And again, you might be thinking, why use that over Hitmonlee, who has Reckless High Jump Kick, also close combat to spam, and Knockoff? It's just the whole thing about Sturdy, man. Sturdy just lets Sawk just do so many things and become such a threat, especially if you're facing this thing with a slower team, a bulkier team, with maybe like Specs Mag, Alomola, even Slowking, Gramble. Even though Gramble might be able to come in, Gramble doesn't appreciate losing its item to Knockoff, and then Poison Jab is a 2-hit KO regardless of Intimidate with the Choice Band set. And base 125 attack, you just slap this bandana on him, and not bandana, yeah, it's a band. Yeah, just being able to 2-hit KO the most defensive Pokemon, not really caring about being revenge killed. As well, just because of Sturdy being intact. And again, it all goes back to what I was saying about, like, if you're a slower, bulkier team, it's a lot harder for you to get off damage on a Pokemon like Sawk if you're a really bulkier team, because faster teams have access to like Choice Scarf Flagon's U-turn, even like a weaker Pursuit, Jolteon running around to scare it out with Volt Switch. And again, what Sawk really does have over a Pokemon like Medicham is, though Medicham is more powerful because of the Pure Power ability, Sawk has that knockoff, and that's what Medicham really wishes it has. So Sawk can punish anything that wants to come in. It doesn't matter if you resist, just because of the knockoff move that it has. And then close combat is just so strong. Obviously Medicham does have, you know, Thunder Punch, which can deal with the ghost types and the Pokemon like Slowking anyway, but just losing your item to knockoff, meaning that close combat can be spammed. It's a great addition to the tier. Zen Headbutt helps a lot versus Pokemon like Quillfish, like Venusaur specifically, and then just having that Sturdy allows it to revenge kill Pokemon that might be faster and can take it out, like Specs Meloetta, which is faster than it. Might hit it down to Sturdy with Psychic, but then it goes down to Knockoff, or it probably even goes down to close combat, to be honest. I think it's powerful, but just a great wall breaker in the tier, and it's a good addition to RU. It definitely fits in this tier, and I don't think it's anything too like crazy in the tier. But when you see Sawk, you definitely have to play like well around it, especially if it has Sturdy. Like, my main priority is getting off any sort of chip damage on it. Sometimes I'll go directly into just, if I have a Rocky Helmet Mon, I switch it into this thing, even if I'm going to take like 90% from close combat, just to break it Sturdy so I can later revenge kill it. But such a great Pokemon in the tier, being able to 2-hit KO and smack the most defensive Pokemon in the tier. Doesn't care about Clefairies because Knockoff 2-hit KOs it. Alomola's 2-hit KO'd by close combat, which is ridiculous. I mean, you have to use 3 close combats versus Alomola to take it out, because you're going to close combat it, then it's going to protect, stall one out, and then you have to close combat the next time. It's going to switch out with Regenerator. But just a mon that greatly punishes any switching, and a good addition to the tier. Lastly, we have Quagsire, the Alolan Surfer, as some people were calling it, who has just been dropping in tiers. OU to RU to NU. I think it was even UU at one point. But I do want to make it clear that just because Quagsire is NU now doesn't mean that you can't use it in OU as your like unaware mon for Zardex Bisharp. Yeah, but I want to also talk about like why this Pokemon dropped from RU, and I feel like this was also something that I touched upon in the RU tier list discussion. But RU just has Pokemon that don't care about Quagsire at all. RU has Venusaur, one of the best Pokemon in the tier. RU has Magneton, another one of the best Pokemon in the tier that runs HP Grass. And Quagsire can't stop that. RU isn't really a tier with very many physical setup sweepers that Quagsire can stop. There's Scrafty, there's Fletchinder, and that's about it. That's about it in the tier. Maybe bulk up Gallade or SD Gallade. But outside of that, it's not really stopping any setup sweepers. Medicham is 2 KOing it. Hitmonlee 2 KOs it with Reckless, High Jump Kick. Emboar, which is another Pokemon that you might be thinking, oh, well, Quagsire's a water type, man. It can resist the fire move, and, you know, Superpower gets the drops. Doesn't matter, though. Unaware, Superpower never has the drops, so it'll 2-hit KO Quagsire with a Choice Band Unaware, or even potentially Scarf Unaware Superpower. I doubt. Scarf might be a roll if you're running Jolly. Watch and look at it real quick. I actually don't think it's a roll. I think it's going to 2-hit KO you, but Quagsire, OU, Unaware Wall. And then you have Emboar. Just look at the calc real quick. Yeah, Scarf definitely isn't 2-hit KOing you because you have to run Jolly. But then you have Choice Band, right? And Choice Band, whoops, give it spectacles. I think you add him at Choice Band. This is easily 2-hit KOing you. You're not getting a drop anyway. Even Flare Brush is doing a ton to it. But yeah, it just has so many powerful physical attackers. I mean, there's Drapion as well, but Drapion also knocks off Quagsire and just supports the team. And I think if you want a bulky water, honestly, in your team, there's Alomola, there's Slowking, which do the same thing and have status, and Thunder Wave, and can Calm Mind up. Quillfish can set up spikes. I just think there isn't really a place for this. And like even the more other physical attackers, like a Scavalier, like they 2-hit KO with Abandoned Megahorn easily. So it's also just another mon that loses to Delphox. So it's a water type that can't really beat this fire type just because of Grass Knot. So I understand why it dropped in usage in the tier. And just the way, I think it's a good Pokemon, but the way the tier is right now, I just don't think it fits. But then you have NU, and I think that NU definitely has some, has a nice home for Quagsire. Being able to check Archeops, Aggron, obviously SD Charizard as well, because SD Charizard usually runs Acrobatics, SD, Will-O-Wisp, so you can Toxic that thing and recover up. As well as being able to take on Seed Bombless Garbodor. At the same time, though, I mean, it also takes on like Hariyama, Girder, which is great, Golurk in the tier. So it definitely has its checks, as well as Kangaskhan. Like it has, not checks, it has its uses in the tier. Kabutops, Hitmonchan. So it definitely checks a bunch of physical attackers in the NU tier. I feel like NU has a bunch more physical attackers than RU, obviously. And but it still obviously has to watch out for Lilligant and Ludicolo. But again, I think it is just a great mon in the tier to check those physical attackers. It definitely has a better home in NU than it does, I think, in RU. And it does have to watch out, though, for Pokemon like Skuntank. It might be able to take it, but Skuntank does run HP Grass sometimes because Rhydon is a threat. But it's also a great mon that can check Dual Dance Rhydon, resisting Stone Edge and obviously taking Earthquakes because of its physical defense. And Unaware doesn't care about those boosts, and even Tauros to an extent. So definitely a Pokemon that I can see fit well in NU on the bulkier teams, or even on like Balance as well. Actually, yeah, a bit Balance and like Semi-Stall. I'll definitely see this running with like pairing with like Steelix or something like that. But I think it's a good addition to NU. I understand why it dropped from RU, and I do want to know your thoughts down below. How do you think the metas will be affected by the tier changes? I don't think RU is going to be any different. I mean, it just has Azelf, and Azelf is just, you know, the stealth rocker for that team. That's all it is. Sawk definitely is just a great addition. You had no reason not to use Sawk before. You could use Sawk in RU before, and it's definitely going to be used just as it was. And Quagsire dropping down from RU to NU, honestly expected, just the way the RU metagame is right now, and how the NU metagame is. I could definitely see just Quagsire doing okay, fitting solidly in this tier. And again, just because this Pokemon is in the NU tier does not mean you can't use it in OU on your stall teams to check Bisharp, to check Zardex, to check Dual Dance Lando. So Quagsire can definitely still be used on those teams if that's the route you want to go. Though I'm just not a big fan of Quagsire in general. But In any case, guys, I do want to know your thoughts. Leave them down below. Feel free to subscribe, leave a like. You can check out, my other videos if you want. And yeah, do I have anything else to say? I'm not sure I have anything else to say. So goodbye, friends.